how to PCS to Hawaii. So Ryan, what does PCS mean?
Very good question. So PCSing is a permanent change of station. You know, it's a military acronym. I was in the U.S. Army. The military loves acronyms.
Yeah. So, how many years were you there?
I was in for 9 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So PCSing, actually, as you know, Elle, we're just about to get into PCS season.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just coming up on it soon. So if you're military transferring here, of course, the top of your list, make sure everything is up to date and in order with your orders, your transfer orders.
Yeah, make sure your order comes to Hawaii, not other places.
Yeah. But you want to make sure all the details are right there with your orders. Make sure everything's clear. The base that you're going to be reporting to.
Yeah.
So that way you could do a little bit of research too, because I know sometimes it can vary. Let's say if you're in the Army, or depending on what your position is. If you're in the healthcare area, like I was, then you might be at Tripler Hospital.
Yeah,
And then the next thing, Elle, I would say is
housing.
Yeah. Especially if you've never been to Hawaii. Housing is really important, especially where that housing is.
Yeah.
Because again, we got, quite a few major bases here.
Yeah.
We have Wheeler, Kaneohe Marine Corps Base, Goldfield, Hickam, Shafter, Tripler Hospital, and the substations. Maybe you'd be at Camp Smith. So there's lots of different places. So, what's your situation going to be? Let's say what time you have to report in the morning based on what kind of traffic are you looking at. That's a big one. The key there is traffic. When you move to Hawaii, depending on where you live and where you're going in the morning and in the evening for rush hour, traffic can be brutal.
Yeah.
So you got to know what to expect. Yeah.
And otherwise, just leave on base. But there's a pros and the cons to leave on base. So you need to decide if you want to leave on base or off the base. Right?
Yeah. And again, Hawaii, on base housing can be a little more difficult because of our limited space.
Yeah. And we have all branches in Hawaii, so it's really huge.
True. The next thing, of course, is shipping. So this is really important to find out exactly what to do and what you can ship, because it does change sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it varies about how many cars that you can ship.
Yeah.
And another thing is how long is it going to take for your stuff to get here?
Yeah.
Again,
usually
Hawaii,
like a month, depends on where you are.
A lot of times, let's say a lot of times they ship out from California. Yeah. So that can take by boat, 3 to 4 weeks before your stuff will arrive on, on boat. So, I've had a lot of military clients months before they got to Hawaii. They were already calling, and we were doing virtual tours for properties here. Because when military, especially when you transfer here and you're on island, if you haven't looked yet, you're going to be under severe stress and pressure to hurry up, report to base, get everything checked in, and then what to do about housing. You want to give yourself a good 4 months before you PCS to start looking seriously, not just browsing, but actually looking seriously for properties in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's really important because Hawaii still is it's America. It's not foreign country, but it's so far distant.
It's very different. Yeah.
And the culture here is very different. The street names is totally, I don't know, like in another country, you don't really, when I first got here, I don't know how to pronounce all the street names.
Yeah, you mean taking the Like Highway? Only people that live in Hawaii will get that one. The next thing is your personal documents. Of course, your identification, your military ID stuff, vehicle registration. Looking into that, taking care of all that. And again, every base will have an office that will help you, guide you through. They usually have PCS packets too. But the military usually does a very good job of providing you this type of information. But you do want to keep in mind, especially military, if you are a firearm owner. So in Hawaii, the rules, it can be certain things depending on what you you have a little strict. So it's a good idea to contact HPD about what you have to do to transfer if you have a pistol or a rifle. These are all kinds of things you need to think about before you PCS.
Yeah, and don't be like you.
Process.
Yeah, don't be like you. Your documents got burned out in the fire, right?
Oh, yeah. Make sure. Well, back then they weren't really backing up documents on the computer, but now, yeah, make sure you have a digital copy of a lot of these things too. Pets.
Yeah, number 5, pets. Don't forget about your fur babies. Yeah.
Now, Hawaii, they do have a lot of agriculture and quarantine rules.
Yeah.
So it used to, I mean, God, way back in the day, the quarantine time for a dog or a cat was insane. Now it's much, much better. It's not nearly as bad, but you still got to look into the quarantine rules for your fur babies.
But if you have all the required documents ready, you don't need to quarantine your dog. But it takes a lot of time to get all the shots.
Yeah, you might need specific vaccinations.
Yeah.
If you have to do any kennel time, you might need a kennel vaccination.
Yeah.
So if you got fur babies or cats or whatnot, it's a really good idea to look into that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Again, Hawaii, for good reason, is strict when it comes to the quarantine.
Very strict. Yeah, that's true.
true.
And number 6 is budgeting. So budgeting is another very important. Hawaii is really expensive compared with most of the states. But if you're coming from New York, San Francisco, those areas, you probably feel kind of just right because we are very close to their budget. Groceries here are really expensive. Food rate houses are more expensive too.
And that's a good point. And that's why your COLA or your assistance for living through the military is much, much higher than most states. Because the BAH, because the cost of living is so much more.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea ahead of time to plan to know kind of budget, see what things cost, do a little research on that, aside from the allowances you get from the military, so you know what to expect when you get. If you have kids, maybe private schools too, right?
Yeah.
Budgeting for private schools.
Yeah, a lot of my clients, their BAH is so high, they end up using BAH as a VA mortgage payment every month. So let's say they bought when they came here 3 years ago, they spend, let's say, $500,000 buy a house, use the BAH pay for. Then 3 years later, the $500,000 now become $800,000, $700,000. So they not only they use BAH and they move here in Hawaii, live for free, and made a couple $100,000 equity.
Yeah. I think I remember that couple too.
Yeah.
Your friends, And that's the thing about Hawaii, especially when it comes to property, is Hawaii. There's limited space. And
island.
So the appreciation, I would never say anything's a guaranteed thing. We still have market swings here.
Yeah.
But in Hawaii, you got a very good chance at seeing some healthy appreciation. And that's why we see a lot of military. Some people ask, if they're only going to be here for 3 years, why not rent?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of benefits to owning your property. Again, Elle's friends from the military, they came here, they were here for 3 years and sold their home and got a $200,000-$300,000 profit off of it.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not going to happen every time, but something to be aware of and to know the markets when you come here.
Yeah.
Weighing the benefits of either renting or purchasing.
Yeah, and I only remember only 2007, 2008, that wasn't good timing for people to buy. But after that, usually people pocket a couple $100,000 profits easy.
Yeah. When we saw the market crisis, when everything fell out, 2008,
2009,
So, even then, we did see a dip in the market in the values of property, but it wasn't on the level as most places in the mainland.
Yeah.
And, we bounced back pretty quick.
Yeah, very quick, especially single family homes.
Yes.
Condos are a lot slower, but houses are much faster. Yeah.
Again, because that goes down to the limited space we have. Hawaii is an amazing, beautiful place with limited land.
Yeah.
So the value of the land here is, much more than if you're buying in the desert. let's say Las Vegas or something like that. So
and call us to get more detail, exactly, detail, so we can explain to you better.
Yeah, and what I like to do with a lot of our military clients, like I said, I do virtual tours for them, but when they come here, I don't like to just take them to houses. I like to take them around and show them the whole island and kind of give them a background about different areas. That way, when they're ready to buy, they're comfortable with where they're moving to on the island.
Yeah.
It's a shame sometimes if people, when they purchase, they don't really know what they're getting into or the area. So maybe it might not be for them. They realize after a few months.
Yeah.
So we love to take people out doing tours of the island, stuff like that, so they get comfortable knowing these different things. And if it suits them.
Yeah.
Will they like living in town or a suburb or the east side of the island or the west side of the island?
Yeah.
Very big differences between this.
Yeah, it's a small island but has a lot of
very
varieties.
Big differences.
Yeah.